Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Karens. In today's episode, Entitled Karen files baseless lawsuit ultimately ends up paying thousands in legal fees. I have a Karen as a roommate. This happened at McDonald's this morning. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Entitled Karen files baseless lawsuit ultimately ends up paying thousands in legal fees. This story is from a few years ago when I worked in the legal department of a 1000+ store national retailer. As part of my job, I handled customer complaints that elevated when the customer threatened legal action. The cast is very simple. Me equals me. EM equals Karen, who was also an attorney. AE equals our awesome attorney. Our customer service call center forwarded EM's call to me after she threatened legal action. EM left a message claiming that she was not provided $10 in customer reward coupons, spend $200, receive a $10 coupon in the mail sort of thing. This was before apps, based on her purchase of clothing for her son and daughter for back to school. I looked into it and called EM back. It turned out, we had an old address associated with her rewards account. No big deal, right? I spoke with EM and offered to send her the original $10 coupon and an additional $25 for her trouble to the correct address. That did not satisfy EM. She claimed we should have known her address and threatened to sue us if we didn't pay her $1,000 in cash. Her rationale was that it would cost us at least $1,000 to defend the suit. She was in a state in which our company did not have any offices, so we should just pay it to her. I declined, but still forwarded her the $10 coupon she was entitled to pursuant to our rewards program. Sure enough, she sued us for breach of contract, fraud, and any other conceivable charge. I went to my boss, the COO, and told him the story. He asked what I wanted to do. I said I'd rather pay legal fees to a defense attorney than pay EM, and he agreed. I contacted AE, explained the situation to him, and I hit you not, he said, in a southern drawl. I get to sue EM? I should be paying you guys. There are a lot of lawyers in this legal community who would love to sue her as she is reckless, unpleasant, and a total pain in the ass to deal with. I'll gladly take your case. He agreed to defend us at a reduced rate. Part of our defense strategy was to countersue her under the state's frivolous lawsuit statute, which would move the suit from small claims court to the larger civil court. AE filed our answer and counterclaim. Although EM was an attorney, she was not a defense attorney, so she had to engage her own attorney to defend against the counterclaim. After a couple of hearings, she offered to settle for no more money exchanged. She didn't even get the extra $25 coupon I offered her, and the dismissal of both suits. I talked with AE about continuing our claim, but he advised it would probably be worth settling and being done with it rather than being vindictive. Although vindictive would have been fun, courts tend not to like that, so I agreed. My company ended up paying AE $900 in attorney's fees. AE later called and told us that the attorney EM engaged charged her $1,700 to defend the suit. Although I would have liked to continue with our suit, I think her having to pay $1,700 over a $10 coupon sent to the wrong address is sufficient justice. She's gonna make a BS lawsuit, in a state with a frivolous litigation law. Humans are geniuses. Seems like maybe they skipped that lesson at her very prestigious law school. Her rationale was that it would cost us at least $1,000 to defend the suit. She was in a state in which our company did not have any offices, so we should just pay it to her. This usually works for issues that will be long and draw out thousands of dollars, like accept my $20,000 offer or pay $30,000 to get the full $50,000 I owe. But $1,000? For a business to never deal with your fraud again? Drop in the ocean. She also made the mistake of setting her ransom equal to the expected loss if they didn't pay it. If the business is going to have to pay $1,000 either way, why the hell would they choose to give it to her instead of a lawyer? She should have set her ransom at something like 100 to 500. It's a lot more likely to get paid if the business saves money by paying it. That's one reason why this story seems made up. In my country, she would pay for your lawyer too. That would have most likely been the case if the court made a judgment rather than just dismissing both cases. A lot of US states have that as an option too. It can be a sanction for contempt of court, violation of a frivolous lawsuit statute, or violation of judicial economy statute, or part of a settlement/judgment. EM was an attorney. Now I see why your lawyer was excited to go up against her, and why she immediately went to the lawsuit. She has a general idea of how much those things cost, and knew that $1,000 would be around the cost of a lawyer. She figured she could squeeze $1,000 out of your company just to avoid court. The settlement should have stipulated that neither she nor any of her family members ever sets foot in one of your stores again, or attempts to order anything online from your company again, with a $10,000 fine for non-compliance. Not any of her family. That plain illegal. Punishing some unrelated people for other people's crime is so 1450, or China. This is so delicious, I spread it in a piece of toasted wheat bread and had it for lunch. She must be a real piece of work for lawyers to salivate at the possibility of going after her. I love this. I've been in 3 lawsuits because I refuse to settle just because a Karen threatens. Our insurance sort of hates me, but I think it's worth it to teach people we will not fold. I have a Karen as a roommate. I share a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment with someone who gets triggered by the most minor things. She thrives on conflict. I do my best not to cause conflict, but that is nearly impossible with this 38-year-old woman who WFH. For example, she doesn't want me to be in the common area, such as the small outdoor patio, because she told me her stuff is there. She has a lot of stuff, BTW. She has so much stuff that she feels the need to put some of it in the living room and on the patio. She also told me she is a germaphobe. She doesn't want me to touch anything, such as the light switches and doorknobs, or if I do, I need to wipe it down because she thinks my hands are gross and sweaty. Okay, whatever. As long as she is paying rent, I can tolerate it. This changed when she became a deadbeat. She said she would pay me sometime last week, but hasn't. She actually needed to pay me on June 1st, but I made the mistake of trusting her. I am a bit frustrated. Not only at myself, but at her too. I already submitted paperwork to get her evicted. Today, I decided to sit in the living room. When roommate Karen arrived and saw me sitting near her stuff, she freaked out. She called me out and told me not to sit near her stuff. I asked her when she'll pay me back. She ignored me and walked into her room. Then 15 to 20 minutes later, she walked out while talking on the phone. I asked her again, and she ignored me. She walked around me to go outside to the patio and closed the sliding door behind her. I pretty much just chilled next to her stuff in front of the sliding door. When she came out of the patio, I decided to go out on the patio and close the sliding door behind me. After 20 minutes on the patio, I was dumbfounded that she hadn't tried to argue with me yet. That's when I caught a glimpse of her on the phone on the other side of the sliding glass patio doors, glancing at me and hearing her say, "He is sitting on the floor watching videos on his phone." I didn't think much of it. She was probably telling her friend how triggered she was, which is the reaction I wanted. She should know that I have a right to use this space. 10 minutes later, a female cop opened the sliding door. I was baffled. The cop asked me what was going on. I told her my roommate and I had some conflict on rent, and my roommate was mad that I was sitting on the patio. First, she told me my roommate can take a walk if she is trigged by me sitting on the patio. Second, she asked me if I was going through the legal process of kicking her out. I said yes and showed her the emails. She told me to sit tight, then walked back inside. I heard my roommate talking loudly. I couldn't make out what she was saying. Probably talking about how bad of a roommate I am. After 10 minutes, the same cop returned and told me my roommate was rambling about stuff. I just nodded and told her it doesn't surprise me. She went back inside. After 10 more minutes, the cop came back and told me they couldn't do anything and that this was a civil matter. We were told to avoid and not to talk to each other. Then they left. My roommate went to get her blood pressure checked by a paramedic. She later returns to her room to lament. I'll be sitting in the common area next to your stuff. Update: she has been crying in her room for over an hour. I think she was talking to her mom because I suddenly received $956 in my bank account. I wasn't expecting this at all. Text update 1, she texted me this: if it's not too much trouble, please do not come physically near me or talk to me in person. Paper and text work fine. Your conflict caused enough damage for me to be further behind, and I need to take responsibility for that by asking for space from you like this, and for my boundaries to be fully understood. Please stay away from my desk as well. Text update 2, final note: please no longer refer to me by my first name or nickname. Kindly refer to me as I should have in the first place, Ms. Last name, not Remy. This is my name in school and business outside of family. P.S. She is an anti-vaxxer, and she vehemently hates the Juneteenth holiday, so she might be racist. P.S. She tried to have me call the cops on her behalf on some neighbor who was throwing trash and doing drugs, I guess. She didn't want to call the cops because she told me her phone wasn't working. Before I told her no, she quickly walked back to her room. I hated having roommates. Nothing inspired me to save and earn more money than to get the F*** away from roommates. Can't legally evict my roommate for 17 years and 2 months. She doesn't work, shits herself, and will sleep in only to take a 3-hour nap at noon. Yes. I worked overtime so that I could have peace. It was so worth it. Nope. Thanks for finally paying what you owe, but this isn't working. You're incapable of sharing space, and I'm not going to continue to pretend your behavior is normal. You will have to find somewhere else to live. Buys Daytex. We already agreed that she'll move out in July. If she doesn't, then that's okay because my lease is up by the end of July. I'll file small claim court on the 2nd because she already told me she'll be late. I'm not going to continue to pretend your behavior is normal. So true. The crazy thing is she thinks my behavior isn't normal. I was just wondering why someone would start living with a roommate if they have so many issues like that. It's just unreal to me. Even though she did pay you, give her 30 days notice and say this isn't working out. You shouldn't have to feel like that in your own home. She should send her the notice via post with signature required, that way she has proof that the roommate received the notice. Well, looks like I'd be spending a majority of my time in the common areas from now on and touching every light switch and doorknobs in the house repeatedly. I was also thinking of walking around shirtless just to bug her even more. My roommate is a Karen too, not as bad as yours though, sheesh. She loaded up the spare room and takes 90% of the kitchen and kept the Christmas decorations up until June. I can't remember her saying anything positive. In the process of kicking her out, and she's livid all the time. Go wherever you want in your house. She cannot limit you to certain rooms. Continue the eviction so you are free of her. Sit in the common area with a 12-pack. Drink each one, burp loudly and crush and throw the empty can towards her stuff. Oh, and play really loud music too. This happened at McDonald's this morning. Karen complains in typical Karen fashion. Kids are in the play area and they are ruining her peace, and quite to an employee. Employee, the play area is for kids, ma'am. You can go to the main area to not be bothered by children. Karen, but the machines are so noisy in there. Employee, sorry ma'am, but this area is for kids to play in. Karen, they don't have any food, they are just leeching off of you to let their kids. Second employee walks in with our food. Karen leaves. Notes my kids are the only ones in here. And that's why I always bring headphones when eating at McDonald's. No screaming children and no boomer conversations. Last week, when I saw this conversation, it was a Jen's chat and I was eating lunch in the park. The headphones do work, but sometimes curiosity gets the better of me and slip them off to be nosy. Pretty sure Chad isn't going to get much further with that pretty little girl he was with. Women looking for a family don't want a man that doesn't like kids, and she didn't look too happy with him as they left. LOL. I hate boomer conversations more than screaming children. I used to bring my daughter to a McDonald's that had an indoor playroom when it was too hot to be outside. I'd bring my laptop and study for class. I never once expected the place to be quiet, lol. There was one guy who came into McDonald's for a business meeting. He complained to me about the music being too loud and said he couldn't hear his boss talking to him. I asked my manager and was told that I couldn't not change the volume, which I reiterated to him. A few minutes later, he complained that other customers were too noisy, too. It took all my strength not to laugh. He actually wanted me to stand on a table and demand silence from other customers. He was on his Zoom meeting for around 3 hours in total before leaving. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.